Okay, both cameras are rolling. Okay, speed. And go.
No, you're fine.
100 Tolkien-esque pages describing the history of the cup and who built it.
Yeah. Please tell me that it's still recording.
Okay.
Oh, I only had one clap.
Sound.
Camera 1 recording.
Just sounds right.
Oh, dude.
But did you ever disappear into your imagination as a hooker and a board?
Sorry. Hi everybody and welcome to episode 4 of Knights of the Round Table. At the square table. Our special guest could not be here today, so it's just the two of us, lucky you. This week we watched Cemetery Man, which is a horror comedy released in 1994. And the best that IMDb could come up with as a summary was, a cemetery man must kill the dead a second time when they turn into zombies. So I will start with first impressions. Matthew?
Okay, it's for anyone that watches a lot of Hollywood flicks, this isn't. It's Italian made, so expect a little something different. First impression of the flick, honestly, is like a zombie movie plus a bit of European art house film mixed together.
Yeah, okay. My first impression was, this is weird. It is a weird film.
Yeah.
It's when the film ended, I was left sitting there for about 5 minutes going, okay. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I did the same thing with Monty Python and The Quest for the Holy Grail, and I love that movie. So yeah, this is exactly as you said. I was thinking sort of like an art house zombie flick. It felt very European watching it, and so that would probably take a little getting used to. But I enjoyed it. There were some funny-ish moments.
I found that there were a few points where the lines that were used were just kind of quippy and just kind of fit the scene. For example, where Francesco Del Morte, played by Rupert Everett, Del Morte, or Francis of Death, basically. He was the caretaker of the graveyard, and he said, "I'd give my life to be dead."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sure. Yeah.
That did earn a chuckle. There were a couple of other things that made me laugh. One was the horse, watching the Boy Scouts go over the edge of the cliff. It's just sitting there watching, and then you hear the thing crash, and the horse just goes, "Nope, going away now." I found that vaguely amusing. The disembodied head of the girl, floating around Muppet style, was weird, but I found it funny.
Muppet style.
Yes. Yeah, Muppet style. Yeah, it was very much like a macabre Muppet just flying at people's necks.
No, he does. He just ruined it.
With great big pointy teeth. The other line that made me laugh was, "I can be eaten by whomever I choose." That made me laugh hysterically when the biker guy was with his former love interest. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But again, they were all just kind of minor chuckles. Nothing really made me laugh hysterically. Though it warrants a second viewing. I think I'm pretty sure I missed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. I think, as a whole, the movie, my impression of it is that there was a little bit of story, but not a whole lot to interweave throughout. Just the camera started rolling and stuff happened. And you're watching that section in the guy's life where stuff happened. And that's what you see. That's what the movie is. It's just the stuff happening throughout this time as it flows.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of ways it could be read. On my way here this morning, or this afternoon rather, I was thinking about it, and it really seemed more to me like Rupert Everett character, Francesco, was sort of the split personality half of Franco, who worked for the mayor. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because yeah. Rupert Everett's character, Francesco, performs all these murders, but they're all pinned on Franco, and Franco and Rupert are supposed to be friends, but when he comes out of his coma, Franco says that he has no idea who Rupert is.
Yeah, and there's a certain, going along with that, there's a certain point in the movie, like, someone that does this, it's got to affect them a little bit upstairs.
Yeah.
And if you do this day in, day out, all this in that, and you're constantly having to kill these returners, as he's called them, at a certain point, are we just viewing Delamorte's insane visions here?
Yeah.
Or is the entire town a little bit crazy?
The entire town doesn't exist. It's in a snow globe.
Perhaps. He's made reference to his friend there, Franco,
Yeah.
throughout the movie, and then when he finally does actually get to see him in the hospital, Franco's like, I have no idea who you are.
Yeah.
As you pointed out, so is he real or is he not?
Yeah. Or is he sort of the mad alter ego of Franco, who runs around killing everything and falls in love with the same woman 3 different times?
Seriously.
Yeah, it's an odd movie. I think the soundtrack in it. When you're watching this movie, be prepared. It is very 90s-tastic.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack, the synthetic soundtrack, is unintentionally hilarious. I think.
It's spot on for the time, 20 years ago.
Yeah, a bit giggle-worthy now.
Yeah, Franco does, or Francesco rather, he does fall in love with the woman 3 times, played by Anna Felci. Now, she plays the widow, the mayor's assistant, and the prostitute. We're never actually given a name for her in the movie.
No, I looked it up on IMDb, and the name for the character was she.
So whoever she is, that's
Sure,
what
yeah, exactly.
Francisco refers to her as in his monologue.
Yeah. Will I ever see her again?
And of those one-liners that are used in the movie, I think is when he first came across her when the widow was burying her husband. In his monologue, he says, "She is the most beautiful living woman I have ever seen." They just had to add the living. Just had to add the living.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What did you make of death? I'm still trying to figure it out.
Well, you didn't see the death in the beginning part of the movie, so that, I think, for me, that was part of, as his mind was starting to split a little. I kind of see that as him talking to himself, that kind of crazy bit inside him.
Yeah, maybe.
But then again, you have those little floaty blue fireballs that are going around the place, the graveyard and the like. So,
oh yeah, right at the beginning.
Yeah, and with Anna Felci scene there too with him.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different stuff going on in there that that could be, that just leave the doors open for other things, I'll say.
Yeah, that's true.
I found the now there's 2 mayors in the movie. First
Yes.
one, and then he gets, well, killed, whatever.
He dies and becomes a returner.
Yes, and then there's the replacement mayor, and they're about as dumb as a couple of turkeys.
Police inspector as well, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hi, how are you, police inspector? Hi, how are you doing? Hey, do you know anything about this person being killed? Nope. Okay, cheerio then.
Yeah.
But the mayor, the second guy comes around, and Rupert Everett and his friend Nagi, assistant Nagi, is putting up barbed wire along the wall. Oh, people break in? No, they occasionally break out.
Okay then.
Yeah, takes it in stride.
Yeah, the other reason why I think that Francesco might be sort of the split personality of Franco is the form that he filled out. Francesco didn't actually fill it out, it was filled out by Franco.
Yes.
So, that made me sort of stop and go, are they sort of the same person? Maybe? Maybe?
Maybe. Yeah, they're both really stupid, Yeah, he's putting up the wires, and the second mayor comes in, and it's like, oh, do people break in? It's like, no, occasionally they break out.
Yeah.
And the mayor's like, oh, okay. well, let's carry on then, you know, and go along the day. And this is when he gets introduced to the mayor's assistant and a fellowship for the second time.
Right. Yes.
And of course, each time he's falls madly. There we go. Thank you.
Sorry.
Madly in love with her, and yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I can get how frustrating it must be to be considered impotent and ineffectual and not really worth anything. But I still, the purpose of the film still is a bit iffy for me. If it's just showing somebody going insane, then they did it, but purely with Francesco. They only ever allude to Franco's kind of possible insanity, and even then that's probably my English analysis training sort of taking over, finding meaning where there might not be any.
Well, I think to begin with there might have been some issues with the translation of the film, because it was inferred that he's impotent in the beginning, and then later on it is inferred that he didn't have the correct parts later on.
Yeah.
It's like when he went to see the doctor, that he was basically a eunuch. And
Well, he wanted to make himself so, right?
right, yes. So, no, that might have been part of it. I'm not sure. That was one of the more glaring things. I don't know how much of the rest of it there was issues with the translation, but it might have been something there. I find it interesting, though, that the woman that he falls so madly in love with 3 times in a row.
Drinkable.
Seriously. She dies 3 times in a row. He kills her 3 times in a row.
Well, she doesn't. The second one doesn't die, right? The mayor's assistant. She goes off to marry the mayor.
No, she disappears from his life.
Yeah, so the same difference, I guess.
The 3rd time, he definitely did kill her.
Yes.
And the relation with love and death. Now, Francesco della Morte, Francis of Death. Now, his mother was Della More,
Yes.
her maiden name. So the contrast between them. And then you're hit with a bit of a poem at the end. I don't know if you caught that there.
Yes, I did. I wish I'd taken the time to rewatch that bit and write it down. The poem about death.
Mm-hmm. Death, death, death comes sweeping down. Filthy death, the leering crown. Death on wings, death by surprise. Veiling evil from worldly eyes. Death at spawn as life succumbs. While life and death, 2 kindred drums. Life and death. Beat 2 kindred drums. Beat the time to judgment day, an actor in a passing play. Without beginning, without end, evermore, amen. So, a bit of life, a bit of death. You can't have one without the other. A bit of love, a bit of death. It's all comes to an end in the same, I think. That's the big point of this film, is the contrast between the two and how they oppose and mix at the same time.
Totally did not get that. Honestly, I was so obsessed with thinking that maybe it was like a split personality thing happening that I did not pick up on that at all. I do psychosis very well.
Fair enough.
Visually, if we can, I want to talk about the film visually a bit.
Absolutely.
And I really, really liked some of the shots, particularly when he shoots the wing off the angel statue for the second time and then goes to stand before it, and so you see the wings behind his back. I thought that was pretty impressive.
The director, I didn't write the guy's name, the name of the guy down.
Michel, I'm going to butcher his last name, Soavi. It's S-O-A-V-I.
He has a very direct style of shooting, kind of in your face, in that kind of way.
Oh yeah?
From what I haven't seen any of his previous works, but from what I've read on the director, that is very much his staple. So I look forward to looking into some of the films that he's done.
Yeah, because visually it was quite good. The special effects, like for 1994, were pretty impressive. Except for the disembodied head.
Muppet style.
Muppet style. It really was. It really was.
In the TV.
Although that was quite sweet, actually. Although the whole necrophilia thing was a bit weird.
Another thing I caught there, I don't know if you saw it at all, but Nagi, his assistant, is kind of does that hunchback, you know, speaks and grunts kind of thing.
Up until the end.
Up until the end, where it takes mental recalibration hit.
That's a good way to put it. It's like, can you please take me home now?
Yeah. You know, he gets played on as being the dumb guy who can only really just help and assist. And Del Morte had an issue with putting that skull together
And
throughout
he
the
did it
entire
himself,
film,
yes.
and Nagi did it.
Yeah.
And then when
Super
Del
quickly.
Morte came in, he just
Yeah.
put it all apart.
Yeah.
So there's a little something there in the character, I think, that that Francisco was missing.
Yes, I think so too. So I think we've pretty much exhausted everything in the film that we can talk about without recounting the entire film.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. So, out of 5 stars?
Out of 5, just because I found couldn't really follow the line on it so well, I think I'd likely give it 3. I like the cinematography, I like the way it was shot, and the quirky humor that was used. But there was a little missing, so I'm going to give it 3.
Yeah, I also gave it a 3, mostly because of the craptastic 90s style acting, which you have to be prepared for. It is an early 90s film.
Yeah.
I did like a lot of the humor. I found some of it bizarrely funny. It's a weird film, so it will take some getting used to, but yeah. I liked the way it was filmed. I liked the humor. The acting was... So, 3 out of 5 stars. Any parting words? Things you'd like to caution people about? Or...
Yeah, it is a zombie flick. There are disembodiments, beheadings, a little bit of gruesomeness, and close-on camera shots of said things. So if things make you queasy, likely not the film for you.
Yeah, also if you're not used to European art house films and the nudity therein, you may not want to watch this film either. It has some weird moments. I don't know, I'm so divided about this film. I don't know if I like it or if I don't. I'll have to watch it again. That's the only way to decide. Okay.
Fair enough.
So now, we picked the next film.
Alright.
Oh, it's not. It's The Last Night. So we'll be watching that 2 weeks from now. Thanks very much for watching.
Thank you.
Don't forget to click like and subscribe if you want more of this awesome weird geekery, and we'll see you next week when we're reviewing Roverandom by J.R.R. Tolkien. Bye!
Bye. She actually said 3 out of